Welcome on into a very special, unannounced, I think, edition of Cincinnati Soccer Talk here on a Thursday evening. I am joined by a great cast of characters, Jose and Josh Dye. Haven't seen Josh in a while, at least I haven't. We're going to be talking about FC Cincinnati's epic beatdown of Toronto FC last night up in our neighbor to the north. And then, of course, we're going to be previewing this weekend's matchup in Columbus, Hell is Real Derby version, whatever. I don't know how many we've played. But first, before we do that, let's welcome in our cast of characters. I mentioned him already, Josh Dye. Josh, welcome back.
You guys haven't got to experience the Thursdays, the Thursday nights that we like to do. Now that we're back in midweek, it's about the only time that I'm able to jump on. So I like to, bring some energy, bring some Thursday vibes to it. Things are weird. It's the middle of the week. My weekend, so I get to have a little extra on the side here, but for everybody else, it's a little business. It's a business night. Like, all right, so I'm gonna bring the energy. That's what we do on the Thursdays.
I don't know if this was like this for you guys, but when I was in college, Thursday was the party night. It wasn't Friday. Thursday was the night that everybody went out.
Yeah, because if you were smart about it, you didn't have a Friday class anyway. So realistically, and if your Friday class, you had like a 1 o'clock noon, so you could sleep in until like 11, roll out of bed, go to class.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago.
I made the mistake one time of having a finance class, and it was a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 a.m. class. But it was one of those where I was like, oh, crap, I need the credits, and I took it anyway. Jose.
Good to be back here. Yes, it does feel a little strange here on Thursday, but, I am glad that Josh is here to give us some energy. Will give me some energy. By the way, I'm a night owl, okay? I go to bed like at midnight, 1 a.m. in the morning, something like that. But Thursday night, okay, it's getting close to the weekend. Time to start winding down. So I'm glad Josh is here to give me some energy.
Yeah, I've got my iced tea over here. Got some caffeine rolling. I ate a big, heavy dinner, so hopefully I don't fall asleep while we're talking about FC Cincinnati. But before we get going, let's talk about our great sponsor, Apollo Home. FC Cincinnati is on a hot streak, but that doesn't mean that you need to be warm in your house as the spring temperatures rise like they were today. Keep your house cool with a $29 HVAC cooling tune-up from Apollo Home. Also, just for CST listeners, Apollo Home is offering a $1,101 off of a new AC unit. That's right, $1,101 off. That's a heck of a coupon, and I don't think any other podcast is going to give you that large of a discount on anything unless they're bribing you after the fact. I know who you're talking about. That's CST's gift just for you. Give Apollo a call, send him a text, or schedule online at apollohome.com. We are big fans of Apollo Home. Thank you so much to them for supporting CST for several years now. Guys, it's been warm today, but one place where it was also a little warm was last night up in Toronto as FC Cincinnati pulled down a 1-0 lead, 1-0 win against TFC. We're going to have our best and worst. We're going to start off here with Jose. Lay it on me. What was your best and worst?
Well, I think that back line just keeps getting stronger. Every game that passes keeps getting stronger. And even though we didn't have Matt, which I was a little worried about, it played very well. I mean, it contained TFC, and we'll talk a little bit about what happened second half. But I also have to make an honorable mention that Obi's contract has been extended, and we'll also talk more about that. My worst is we are still not putting bad teams to bed. We let them in. I mean, we go ahead and we let them in. And, I was standing the last 5 minutes here in the living room. So please let this game end. So I think that's my worst. We're still not putting these bad teams to bed.
I wonder what we can get into this as we get into the game recap, but that brings up a good point, and I want to get a vibe check. So just remind me as we get into the game recap of TFC. But that brings up an excellent point, Jose. Josh, your best and worst.
My best is the DNA, the core DNA of how this team seemingly is going to play all season. Is how you win in the playoffs. You defend early, score, and then defend like hell the rest of the way. we thought, hey, maybe we're waiting for this team to gel, waiting for this team to figure it out. The way that this team is structured and the way that they have proven now that they can kind of hang on and bunker down and really kind of not put teams away on the scoreboard, but put teams away in the sense of getting wins out of games that they would normally have lost. So they've learned how to win these games. This is how you win in the playoffs. So remember these days, remember how these games are feeling, because once we get into October and MLS Cup playoffs are around, this is the blueprint. This is how you go on the road if you have to and beat a team and sneak your way into MLS Cup final, and then all bets are off at that point. So what was normally a frustrating way is I'm kind of keeping it in my back pocket of like, hey, I'm remembering how to win, how this is going to feel, because this is going to come back and come playoff time. So good to see that happen early. My worst is Buka is seemingly the only guy on this team that can't get a break. Wednesday, as we saw with the lineup, and we'll get into more when you do the game recap. Time for rotation, time for guys to kind of get some rest, either get a short little shift, get something. Not for Pavel Buka. Apparently, I mean, he's, as we've seen already this year, and didn't bring up horror stories of the Philadelphia drubbing, but you've seen how important he is into that midfield, and that's not going to stop. Like he needs to be healthy for this entire season for it to get to where we want him to be. So I just please just let the man give the man a break. Just let him rest for a game. Like, it's not going to you're not doing it on Saturday. So I was really kind of hoping that like he could get a break, but it's a small concern right now. Small concern.
Yeah, I'm hoping that today Pavel Buka had just nothing but time in the hot tub, the massage, don't even walk if you don't have to, that kind of day. My best and worst, kind of echoing a little bit of what you all said, but winning against teams we should beat. I mean, as you mentioned, Josh, these are the kinds of matches that, you need to put it away. And not every win is going to be beautiful. Not every win is going to be a blowout. But I mean, don't look now, but we're on pace to kind of match our Supporters Shield winning year in terms of points per game. And those are the kinds of games that you're going to have to win with a rotated lineup against a team that isn't really good, in a audience that wasn't really, they were more interested in the Maple Leafs NHL playoff than they were with TFC playing soccer.
Yikes! Not much.
My worst is, while I'm happy we got the win, guys, I might be wrong, but has Evander and Denkey both scored in the same match yet this year?
I don't remember. I mean, and by saying I don't remember, it's like I don't think it's happened.
But did they do it against Motagua?
They might. Motagua, I think, is the one that they might.
401, like his Evander's debut, maybe. Like, what? I'm trying to think. Like, that's the only one that, like, maybe.
But not in league play. Yeah,
definitely not.
Not in league play. And while it was still a great win, the fact that we need to score more goals. I'm being selfish. I want to see the guys that we spent something like $28 million on.
Something like that, yeah.
In terms of transfer, I want you both scoring. Hopefully this weekend we get them both on the score sheet. Let's see some of our great audience. Sean Pace, his best Denkey goal and no yellow. That was huge.
Huge.
I know going into this match, that was my biggest concern, was that Denkey almost, and it looked like for a second that there was a point in the match where a TFC player was kind of holding his head and acting like Denkey had bopped him in the head. And I thought for sure that was going to be it. We've got Hell is Real coming up for sure. Referee is going to give him a phantom yellow on that. Sean's worst offense after the subs fell flat. I can see that. Fort Wayne Footy, our good friend Brian Biedenbach, his new podcast, Best Denkey and Evander celebrating together. I like that as well.
Yeah. I noticed that.
We don't need any no more fake controversies this year like they were
Please.
last year. So
Is everybody friends on the team?
Squash that now. Love to see it.
They are so. I noticed that in the past couple of matches. I think vibes are good. I noticed that in the match on Saturday when Evander scored. Everybody went and dapped up Lucas Engel. They seemed really happy he got the assist. Denkey and Evander doing the pose there at the end. The vibes seem good, at least.
Yes.
So that's always good as you head into a big match this weekend. But we'll do a really quick recap of last night's win up in Toronto against TFC. Our starting lineup for the Garys: Roman Celentano, of course, behind or in the box, in the goal. Your back line was Teenage Hadibi, Miles Robinson, and Gilberto Flores. Your other back line, Brad Smith on one of the wings, Anunga and Buka in the middle in your defensive mid, and Yedlin playing the other wing back position. Evander, obviously, the number 10, and then you're up front, Kevin Denkey and Dado Valenzuela up top. Guys, we did not see Luca Orishano coming off of a big win over the weekend. Your thoughts when you did not see him in the lineup?
I was a little concerned, but was it due to injury, right? Or some kind of a knock he had?
Yeah, they said he picked up a knock in like in the end of the game or training.
That's right. Area. Yeah, and I was worried. And I mean, Yedlin did pretty good, but certainly he's not the threat of Orellana. Even if Orellana is not up to the form he was last year, I mean, I think he would have been a bigger threat. So I was a little worried. But I'm wondering, and this is speculation, that injury he had at the beginning of the year, could that be something that's still bugging me, that's still holding him back? We've talked about why he's shown, maybe because he had Acosta there, but I'm also wondering, well, is that a lingering injury that is something is bothering him and he just can't perform at 100%? Again, I'm not speculating or anything, but it just, today I thought about that.
That's definitely an interesting. No, I had forgotten completely about that kind of injury. I just, he did the holdout and everything, and took him a while to get there. So I kind of had forgotten that there was an injury concern there. So I mean, I think that is a good shout, and definitely is something to keep an eye on. For me, it is kind of simple. Like, I mean, not simple because who knows? I mean, we know that this team is so tight-lipped with how they handle these injuries and things. But to me, it felt like a rotation, right? It's midweek on the road in a different country. As I talked about in my best, like, you need, like, or in my worst, this was the perfect opportunity to get guys who had any kind of ailment, nagging thing, anything kind of lingering, to kind of like, all right, give them an extra time, especially with Saturday. Like, if Saturday wasn't Columbus, maybe he plays, right? Like, maybe they push him and they stretch him, or maybe he maybe he goes like 60 or something. Like, but Saturday is so important that there was no reason to risk it, I think, and at least I hope. And him being back in training today, however loose and whatever it was, Miazga was also back in training there. So, like, both of those guys getting those days off, I think was great. I think is super beneficial.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Matt needed that time off because after that hamstring, it's okay, just give him as much time as possible.
Yes, no more. Just please, God, any time there's anything, and I'll give him credit to kind of have the confidence and to do that. How many guys are gonna say like, "Hey, I'm gonna push through. I'm gonna do the thing because one for the team." It's just like, I'm all for throwing your body out on the line for the team, but the moment that you see him having some kind of discomfort and calling for that, like, I love kind of that mentality of like, I'm in this for the long haul. I need to take care of myself now, because we've seen that already this year from multiple guys. I mean, Miles Robinson did it earlier this year, the same thing. So it's like, I think these guys know now is not the time to really kind of like lay everything out on the line and I'm stretching my body as far. It's like, no, we got 40 games left, God willing. Like, take a break now. That's fine.
Those are all excellent points. And I think this is one of the things that we need to give credit to Albright here for building a team now that we actually have depth to the point where Luka can be out, Obi can be out, we can be missing Matt Miazga in the back, and really the drop off there is not that huge. Whereas in previous years, at least, I feel
Yeah.
like if you were missing one of your center backs or if you were missing your wing back or one of your center defensive mids, that drop off was massive. I mean,
Yeah.
how many times last year or the year before would Obi be out for yellow card suspension or something like that? And we just looked like a completely different team.
Mhm.
Now, to his credit, Brian Anunga had a very good match.
He did.
DeAndre Yedlin, don't look now, but on FOTMob, he was rated the highest player for FC Cincinnati. And I mean, so obviously he didn't have a very offensive match, but he did his job and did it well. And, I think that's one of the things that, at least for me as a fan this year, is if you see somebody come off, I'm not super worried about it. I mean, this was a heavily rotated squad. Lucas Engel was on the bench. You had Brad Smith starting in his place.
Mhm.
But, and he came out and had a solid go of it. So that was great, at least for me. The biggest thing that I want to talk about as we move forward, though, talking about TFC, was the pairing of Dado Valenzuela and Kevin Denkey up top. We got some love for Dado from Daniel McHugh, Patrick Daniel McHugh. Dado had a fantastic game again. Jose, I saw it in your notes though. You weren't super impressed?
I wasn't, and I guess it's a couple of reasons. One is it's a new pairing, so give them a little bit of benefit of the doubt. Okay, they're not used to playing with each other, but I just didn't see, at any point in the games. Okay, yeah, that could work if they build on that. And if you look at Dado's stats, I mean, his overall passing was like 65%. And I don't think he had one progressive pass, by the way, on top of that. So and I'm not putting all that on Dado, by the way. Again, heavy rotation, new players around him. Okay, I get it. If you're going to try that pairing in the future, then, maybe you do it in a game that we put away, which probably not going to be a lot of those, by the way, if we keep winning by one. Put him in there, pairing up with KD. But I just didn't see it for this game.
I'm gonna give it some more time. That's fair. Those are all fair points. It definitely looked like it was some question, some him trying to figure things out, I mean, this is also really kind of the longest stretch of time he's gotten to work next to Kevin Denkey. So I mean, that's such an important part of that partnership that you have to understand where your partner is going to go so that know what space you're going to fill, what space is he going to avoid. Like, so I want to see this more because obviously I think we all have seen so far, and so much as Vander has come out and said how impressed with Dado Valenzuela he is. I think that spoke volumes last week. Yes. So it's like, I hope he gets the run. We have seen in the past that Pat Noonan trusts his veterans more than he does the young guys. Mm-hmm. Whether that's we don't know what they see in training. We have all kind of called for younger guys to get more run out or at least get attempts and just to see what they can do in a game, but they just never kind of do it. So the fact that Dado's name has been spoken at the highest of the parts of the club positively so far this early in the season can only be good things. I hope his leash is a lot longer in Pat Noonan's book. That being the case, I doubt we see it on Saturday. I hope I'm wrong because I would love to see that again. I want to see this partnership develop because I think there's some real chemistry that can build there, especially if him and Evander can kind of get on the same page. But I just don't think we see it on Saturday, and I hope not. I hope he gets the opportunity in that moment, in a Hill's real moment, to make a statement and then have him actually do it, because nothing would be bigger for that kid's confidence, right? Than to get perform in that game.
Oh, and don't get me wrong, I think he's got a lot of talent.
Yeah.
I mean, even in this game, like I said, there were moments where I said, okay, that was a good move, Dado. Okay, he's got a lot of talent. He needs more minutes. I just don't think for this particular game it worked very well. But if they're going to do that, like you said, then they need to give the kid more minutes.
Exactly. I think it was a rotational thing. Sergio Santos did not start after starting on Sunday, and of course Kai Kamara just now with the team. The legend, FC Cincinnati legend, is back and came in only for a few minutes there at the end. We're gonna wrap this TFC discussion up really quickly, though. But guys, if you were a fan of Knifey Lion Radio, KLR, Jonah's podcast, he used to have this segment called Styling on Him, where they would point out a guy from FC Cincinnati who did some incredible move, and he had a drop. I can still hear.
I can hear it. I can hear it. It's so good.
I wish I had downloaded it. I really need to get a soundboard for my computer. Kevin Denkey would have earned the styling on him this week. Josh, is he the best dribbler on the team? I ask you.
Dribbler, no. Controller, that's the argument I'm willing to make, because that was the most impressive thing for me, is to see him make that run, and then he gets into the tight space, gets into that tight windows, 3 defenders next to him, and how many times have we seen an FC Cincinnati striker get into those positions and have no idea how to get out of it, and then the first touch is 4 yards in front of him, or it's just immediately kicked 10 yards the other way. Like, you just knew nothing was coming of it, and you just kind of learn not to think of that as a chance. You just think of like, oh, well, clearly there's too many guys. But you have somebody of his physicality, somebody of his, like, just pure physique of, like, getting into that opportunity, and you're like, okay, well, this is gonna be nothing, and then he just keeps it, and he tap, and then boom, he finds the window and curls it, and you're just like, I was in awe. Like, this team has never had somebody who can control in those tight windows since it's been a year, but that was Lucho Acosta-esque. Mm-hmm. Like that kind of moment where he can have the kind of feint foot to keep it on his body and to find the corner. Only Lucho could ever do that on this team. Mm-hmm. And now you have your $16 million striker who's sculpted from the gods being able to do that. And now you're just like, what can't this kid do? Like, what can't this kid do now? I'm waiting to find the thing that he can't. And I got nothing. The kid's amazing. Another $5 million on the sale, by the way.
That is the thing that worries me, because when we got Kevin Denkey to sign, when you saw the highlights, you're like, okay, this is a typical big guy kind of striker, better than most MLS strikers. He's able to shoot from outside, but he's more of a poacher, more of a needing a good feed in order to finish. And then he showed that, and I'm like, I hope that not a single team in Europe saw that, because I want him here for at least another year.
Oh yeah, at least
before the Eredivisie or Serie A or somebody comes calling, because you keep nobody in MLS. That's the difference between a very good MLS striker and strikers in other leagues, is being able to add that little wrinkle of your game, to have that footwork.
Yeah, I mean, the ease in which he got into the box, first of all, I mean, as you said, he started going into the box. It's okay, somebody's going to get it. They're going to gang up on him, or he's going to lose it. And they just kept going and going. He kept the ball close to his feet. And I really didn't expect anything to happen. I think, okay, at any moment now, somebody's going to block it. And then he got an opening. He didn't hesitate. I mean, he did not. The two center backs kind of moved in different directions. There was this opening. He curled it in. I actually stood up and said, was that a goal? Really? Was that a goal? I mean, are they going to call this back? I mean, did something happen? It's like, oh my God, what did this guy just do? To me, it was a work of art.
Yeah.
Because
It was
you're right. You don't see that a lot in this league.
the curl at the end was just the cherry on top.
Phenomenal.
It wasn't a straight shot, just the nice hook.
Yep.
And he had a couple other opportunities in the match. We're gonna wrap up talking
real
about
quick,
TFC.
Jason. You made a great point in that we thought he was a guy that needed delivery. This was a true moment of this is a classic basketball player who's just like, I can get my own shot, don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like he went and made that entire moment happen on his own. And again, whether that's good or bad in the big picture of how this team operates and scores goals, but once again, like if he has that dimension of being able to create his own shot, create his own opportunity, the same way that Evander does, the same way that Luka did last year, hasn't this year, but I think that's another piece that's like, okay, if a team's gonna bunker and they can't let us link up passes and we can't do it, this is yet another guy that has proven that he can go make the magic on his own, and that can unlock an offense. Like that can unlock a defense. Like those are so critical in these games where teams are just gonna hang out. They're just gonna bunker, and we see that so much in MLS. So I'm super excited to super excited to see this added wrinkle to his game that we didn't know, because like you said, if he keeps doing that without this kind of special service that most strikers in MLS need, he's not going to be here much longer, because he's going to be sold for 30+ million because somebody is going to come calling of like, that kid can do that. And like, okay, like it's special.
Exactly. And I'm glad that you brought that up, Josh, with guys like Evander and Orishano. We have guys who can take the game on their shoulders and aren't willing to take some big risks. And in a league like Major League Soccer, where when you get to the playoffs and you have to play that stupid 3-game opening round, you occasionally will need somebody to step up and just be like, heck, I'll do it myself when nothing else is working. And the fact that we have 3 guys on this squad who can do that, and 2 of which, like Evander and Denkey, who we know for sure can do it, and then Luka, who we've seen spurts of it. It's a lot of confidence for me as we move forward. Guys, we're going to wrap up talking about TFC, but before we move on to Hell is Real, I'm going to bring up my media assets and get Apollo Holmes logo, or not Apollo Holmes, sorry, Beyond Exercise logo up here so I can read Beyond Exercise's ad read. Beyond Exercise is a local physical therapy and fitness business that helps people stay active and injury-free. And in fact, they've helped some of our local MLS, MLS Next, and FCC Academy players with their health and performance needs. Check out their suite of services at gobeyondexercise.com. It's a one-man. I've got all the little buttons over here, and I'm doing the best I can. Before we talk about Hell is Real, we did have some team news today. Obina Wobodo signing a contract extension. We were in his option year, and FC Cincinnati announced today that they extended him to 2027 with an option to 2028. Obi, for me, when there is like a BC and AD to FC Cincinnati's tenure, and there's before Obi and after Obi. When we brought him in 2022, I think it was, it was a revelation. It changed the team. And he has quickly become, I think, one of the best center defensive mids in the league. Guys, Josh, I'll throw it to you first. What do you think about this extension to Obina Wobodo?
Well, I mean, I'm reading. I kind of pulled up the team release here, and just kind of the stat that I kind of didn't realize is incredibly impressive. 109 of his 117 appearances have been starts for this team, which is like, I mean, that's incredible. You know, this was a guy that you want to keep around in your club because he's bought in, he's gone through it all. He's clearly made a family here. I mean, you talk about what he did last year, being a voice of reason for bringing in Cheeto, like when Cheeto came over, like, so those are all incredible aspects. The thing that I immediately thought of when I saw this was, okay, what's the number? Because what's the number is really it. Because for me, the number is going to be so important in determining whether I like this deal or not. And it's hard to say because the way that this team is constructed now, when you have so many assets put in towards your back line, you have 4 or 5 center backs really that are all startable in this league. So you've invested in a back three. This is how you're going to build your team. You've built with center backs that can cover ground while your wing backs push. I don't know if this is how Pat Noonan's going to play. I don't know that Obi's spot is critical. We have seen it this year already, where the best version that this team has looked so far is when you had 2 number 8s in the midfield and you had Buka and Kubo, because you had 2 ball progressors in the offense that allowed you to seamlessly go from defense to offense. Evander didn't have to drop down to be that facilitator. You allowed your wing backs to go up because you had guys you had your center backs that trusted them to do their jobs in the back to cover the ground. So I don't know if that's the best version of this offense. Then Obi's role in the starting lineup is kind of unnecessary. And if we're trying to say that this team needs to be perfect going to MLS Cup, or you want the best version of that, I don't think Obi needs to be in that lineup then. Now, I love Obi as an option to be able to kind of mix things up, but that's where the number thing comes into my play, because you could be looking at a Sergio Santos situation if you're paying him a ton of money and he's not providing you the best option to build out your team. It sucks to say, because Obi, again, I want to say this, like, Obi is a great player. Like, it's not, I'm not saying, oh, Obi sucks, so we don't need him, ship him out to wherever. No, Obi is an incredible player. He's seemingly an even better person, great representative for the city. Like, everything that you want out of a player, Obi does. But he's gotten older. His passing has gotten worse. His ball, like, we've seen his ball progression numbers fall off. Great destroyer, great guy to cover you, but if you're telling me that Kubo and Buka are going to start in the midfield and your team is going to be that much better, then I'm not sure where the contract extension makes sense for me if this is the route that they're going to do. Like, you have 2 U22 spots to use in the summer. One of those, in my mind, has to be a ball progressing midfielder. Somebody that needs to replace Obi in the midfield. Like, if Obi's your locked in starter next to Buka, that's fine. My immediate job then in the summer is to find somebody to replace Obi who can move the ball and make this whole thing cohesive, because Obi and Buka in the midfield right now is not cohesive. It's not the best option for the offense. And it's fine if you're trying to win games 1-0. But as we've seen, the frustrations from this team, maybe that's not the way that you need to do it. And I just don't think if he can adapt the DeAndre Yedlin role, great option off the bench, give you a different, like, hey, come in the 60th minute and we're going to bunker and we're going to do this thing. Great. I want nobody else. He needs to be the first midfielder off the bench. But if you're giving a 3-year contract extension for a significant pay raise for a guy that you're coming off the bench, that's where I have a problem with the deal. If it's a pay cut, if it's, you're stretching the budget out and making numbers work, great. We'll see how that works out. But I don't think I'm on board with it yet. End of rant.
No,
sorry.
That's
I had to, like, I saw the things and I was like, I need to say this because this is gonna be a thing.
No, I think those are all excellent points. I think, for me, I see your point about the 2. You need midfielders who can progress the ball. I will concede that point. I think you're absolutely right there. I think he's much better at progressing the ball than Anunga is. We've seen him progress the ball in the past. And B, I think the issue in that lies more with the wing back and needing to move Luka over to the wing back rather than having Yedlin out there. And that allows you to give Luka more space to work with. And it allows Obi to kind of drop back and be a cover for Luka in that instance. I think that's where, to me, that's where the formation is the best. Jose, any thoughts on Obi?
I mean, when I read the news, I was excited, and I was excited because, like all of us here, and I'm sure everybody in the audience as well, we remember those years where FCC would just hemorrhage goals out of really dumb plays in the midfield, where they lose the ball and it was almost a guaranteed goal. And that would happen over and over and over. And it would happen like in the last minute of a game that we were winning or we were tying. I mean, it was frustrating. And here comes Obi, and things changed practically overnight with him in the middle. So I do have these memories of how miserable it was to either maintain a lead or just maintain a tie at the end of the game because we would do some stupid human trick in the midfield and they would score on us. So I have these fond memories now that he turned it around. So I was excited when I heard, okay, we're going to extend it. But, as you have said also, all right, so what is Noonan's vision here going forward? Because we needed Obi to disrupt the game. We needed somebody in there to say, we're going to stop the hemorrhaging and we're going to have somebody who can do some decent ball progressions as well. But we're going to worry about stopping the bleeding right now because we are bleeding all over the place. Now, with that said, and with the comments you have made, I am also now starting to wonder. It says, okay, does this make sense long term if we are now building hopefully a potent offense with also a potent midfield that can create more and more opportunities? And the fact that we have a strong back line now means that we don't need that much defensive midfield play anymore, not as much as we used to. I'm still excited that he's here. But again, based also on what we said before the show and also what you're saying, yeah, I'd be interested in seeing the numbers. I mean, what does this look like? And is this going to limit us in what we can do later on, whether it's this year in the summer transfer window or the winter one or in the next 2 years?
Yeah, I think I'm with you all on that. I think it's got to be for a slightly lower number. He originally signed as a designated player. I'm pretty sure he was not a designated player coming into this season.
He finally moved off of it.
So this might be an instance where they had some, Don Garber funny money to move around for him, or at least the promise of funny money in the future to move him around. But congrats to Obi. At least we wouldn't be where we are without you. I know that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I don't want to undermine the fact that yes, he is literally everything you would want in a player coming to this league. Like he's a name that nobody knew. You pretend you knew who Obina Woboda was before he got here. You're lying. And the only thing he has done has been a consummate professional. He's represented the team well. He's represented the city well. He's recruited for this team, bringing pieces into this club when they needed it the most. And it's just so he absolutely deserves it. But
strong work ethic, no scandals, no drama. I'm here to play. Let's get this done.
He's an absolutely incredible piece to have, and you hope he becomes kind of the Nick Hagelin, the next version of Nick Hagelin, right? Where it's just like, this is a guy that is as teenage debut would say, dies for the city, like, right? He wants to run through a wall for the city, and he's done nothing but prove that that's what he wants to do. So I'm very happy he's a part of this team. My analytics brain says I hope he's coming off of the bench the rest of the way.
Yeah. Well, we wish him the best, and we will certainly need him this weekend. As fellas, it's here and it's real. Hell is real, Derby. Notice I said Derby. This is my annual rant to American English speakers. We know how to spell things correctly. So, and we also know how to pronounce words correctly. We
Aluminium is so much fun to say, though. Have you said it that way?
But they at least
Aluminium.
spell
So
aluminium differently than aluminum. But Derby and Darby are spelled the same. And you can't tell me Worcestershire sauce. That's just one of those American things. Like this past weekend or whatever, 2 weekends ago, we had the Kentucky Derby. No one said Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, it was Lexington versus Louisville, right? That was the Kentucky Derby, right?
That was the Kentucky Derby. Actually, that was the Commonwealth Cup. I was at that game. It was a lot of fun. So we're heading up to Columbus, 7 p.m. on Saturday, up at lower.com field. The Crew are coming off of 2 straight draws, disappointing outings for Columbus. FC Cincinnati now 2 points ahead of Columbus in the conference standings here in the Eastern Conference. Guys, quick vibe check as we head in to Hell is Real. Okay, Jose,
I'll be up front. Remember when we did the forecast at the beginning of the month, say, okay, how many points do you think we'll get in May? I said, well, I think these much, and I think we're going to lose in Columbus, and I still think we're going to lose in Columbus, and here's why. We're not sure the health status of Miazga. Is Obi ready to play 90 minutes? Is Orellano going to be available? If any of these pieces are not at 100%, we're going to be at a bit of a disadvantage. Yes, Columbus is also coming off a short, rest. They also played yesterday. So leg-wise, they're going to be in the same situation as we are. The question is, are they as healthy or not as they were a week ago? So that's number one. Number two, and this is the intangible, they're going to want payback. We beat them there last year, and they were really angry. I kind of swung into some of the forums of the Crew without saying anything. Why were they angry about this? How the heck did this happen? Of course, I was enjoying it, but I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to enjoy these guys melting down. So those kind of vibes, are we 100% healthy? What is the Crew going to come out of the gate saying, these guys beat us in our home last year. We can't let that happen again. And the crowd's going to be really into it as well. So, that's kind of my vibe. I don't think we're going to get crushed, by the way. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think in the end, they're probably going to beat us. But that's me.
Josh, vibe check as we get ready for Hell is Real.
So there's again difference between reality and vibe, right? So we're here on Thursdays.
Not asking
right?
for reality. I'm asking.
We're here on Thursdays. We're bringing vibes. Thursdays are all about vibes. Vibes are sky high right now. All right, this is the most confident I've been going into Columbus than I think I have ever been. Maybe last year, 2 years ago. There's just something about this team that's just like, hey, yeah, screw it. We're gonna beat you, and you're not gonna like it. Our fans aren't gonna like it, but we're gonna do it anyway. Like all we're gonna do is get 1-0 wins, and you're gonna love it. Now the reality, so that's vibe. Vibes are high. I'm very, Denkey coming off of an incredible goal. Evander's, celebrating with him. They're playing basketball at practice. Like again, everyone's just chilling. Everyone's chill and. Guys are getting healthy. It's all everyone's loosey goosey. The analytics part of my brain, the reality part of my brain is this team, Columbus, has maintained an incredibly frustrating level of competent soccer, despite just literally not replacing the best striker they've had in years. Like you offloading somebody like Cucho Hernandez and not replacing him, like no disrespect to Daniel Gazdag, but like he ain't Cucho Hernandez.
Nope, he's not.
Like they replaced him and have not missed a beat. They just kind of the thing kept rolling, and that is such a credit again. And it's super annoying that Wilfred Nancy is still, I think, the best manager in this league by a mile. I think every time I'm constantly, my ears perk up every time I see some team in France who's like getting ready to maybe fire their coach. I'm like, oh, Wilford, I could
Take
talk to that guy.
take him.
Talk to that guy. He's real good.
Take him
He's
now.
good. Take him now. Go. It's just incredible. It's like it is just genuinely incredible that they just keep not missing a beat. That being said, like this feels like a draw, right? This feels like both teams rested guys, both teams rotated. Diego Rossi didn't start the game against Montreal. Where so there was an eye towards Saturday for both teams. And so I think you can tell that this is super important for both teams. I don't think this is one of those like it's another game things. It feels like a draw. It wouldn't surprise me if it was like a 1-1, but for fireworks and vibes purposes, like, yeah, give me 2-2. Like, give me a late Denkey, like, steal a point, like, in the 88th minute or something. Like, because I think these teams are so built so well. And I think, obviously, Nancy is got that thing. Everyone's bought in. Everyone understands the role. Gazdag is figuring it out, which is scary because we've seen Daniel Gazdag be super effective in this league, and he's the one that looks the most off center because well, he just got there. He's the only one that doesn't understand the system yet. Once he picks it up, like that's another incredibly valuable piece that they have. But it's like both teams are still kind of riding the early wave of this season. And Columbus has been dropping some points lately, and they've had some tougher games. Obviously, they've got a game against Miami in their belt. They've played Philly a couple, so they've faced the tough tasks early on. It just feels like I'll go on vibe and say 2-2, and like it's going to be fun, and it's going to make the tie and TQL like that much bigger.
That's gonna be.
It's
awesome.
Going to elevate that thing so much more because these are two of the best teams in MLS, like not even just the Eastern Conference, in all of MLS. And so like it's just gonna be fun to watch. Like it's gonna be good soccer to watch. And so like I want part of my brain, I'm gonna try to remind myself just to enjoy it, but I'm gonna be stressed the entire time because how can I possibly enjoy the soccer game that I'm watching when I have so many stakes involved? But it's gonna be so fun to watch. So fun.
The interesting thing is, if you look at the Crew, they're in the top 10 in goals scored, and it is spread out throughout their team. Diego Rossi's got 6, Jason Russell Rowe's got 5, Gazdag's got 2, Farsi's got 2. Arfston's got 2. Like they are spreading it out. Whereas FC Cincinnati, we're not ranked very high in goals scored in MLS. We're 17th, but Denkey and Evander both have 7, which is some of the goal. They are goal leaders in Major League Soccer. So it's really kind of a juxtaposition there between a team that really spreads out the scoring and then a team that really relies on 1 or 2 guys to do a lot of the offensive work. That being said, this is also a battle of 2 pretty good defensive teams. FC Cincinnati's only given up 4 goals. Columbus, I think FC Cincinnati's only given up 4. I might be wrong there. Columbus has given up around 8 this year. And so I think, guys, that's the thing that we've been talking about this all season is FC Cincinnati's been winning games by 1 goal the entire year. It's our defense that keeps us in matches. It's our defense that is helping us win games. If you were looking ahead to Columbus, if you were to pull your top 3 to put on that back line, or your top, let's just say back 5, because we've got 2 wing backs, who are you wanting to see out there on that back line for FC Cincinnati?
I think it's Miles Robinson, Matt Miazga, Teenage Hadabi. Those are the 3. Flores is great. I'm very excited. The prospect that he's done. We mentioned earlier, being able to just drop another guy into that bucket of like, no, okay, nothing's lost. Like, all right, the train keeps moving. Like, incredible to have. And obviously, we know what Nick Haglund can do. he's been great this year. He's starting to kind of showcase the reasons why I was like very excited for Nick Hagglund to be a bench guy this oftentimes, because he gets himself into precarious positions and you're like, Nick,
Does.
Nick, 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 Nick. And then he just somehow falls forward and clears the ball with his side foot. I don't know. He plays soccer like a little kid, and it's the most fun thing I ever watched, but it's the most stressful. Yeah, so those are the three. Debe, Miles Robinson, Matt Miazga in the center, because that just there's so much coverage there, and there's so much veteran leadership there, and there's so many guys who have put quality MLS minutes in that lineup, and it's pretty impressive that we have all three.
Jose, you are a longtime soccer fan. You were a fan of Chivas back in Mexico.
Call the guy old, why don't you? Jeez.
I am old. Hey,
listen,
man, I am.
hey, you don't look a day over 30, Jose.
I'm
a day
going
over
somewhere.
30.
What, 3 centuries?
But you've first of all, I'll just show my ignorance of Liga MX a little bit. I'm not sure who Chivas' big rival is. I'm assuming Club America is probably
Oh yeah, I mean,
the
it's
biggest
like,
one. These, as someone who has watched soccer, like, what does it mean as a fan to have these kind of rivalry matches? I mean, that's got to make the game so much more enjoyable.
One of the things that when I first started watching MLS, I mean, when FCC formed a team, and then we got into MLS, I thought, okay, but where's the Chivas Club America, or where's the Real Madrid Barcelona? And then I discovered hell is real. Now, by the way, I went to that cup game where we beat them. We're still in the USL. I was working in Columbus as a consultant. So I actually would drive up there on Sundays, come back on Fridays, but the game was on Wednesday. So I drove down to watch that game. And even though it was still not hell is real, there was a certain satisfaction of, oh, all right, yeah, we beat that Ohio team, that other Ohio team. Yeah, good. And you were in MLS and we're in USL. We beat you.
That's the birth.
So
that's the
to me,
birth
that's
of hell is real.
What's that?
That's the birth of hell is real. Like that's how it started. In my book.
To me, it's a hell is real. Just brings back memories also of when I would go watch Club America against my Chivas. And by the way, the 2 times I went to see them, Chivas lost, because Club America has always been really, really good.
Yeah.
And Chivas was on the way down. Chivas was tremendous. I mean, they were the team in Mexico in the 60s and 50s and a little bit in the 70s. The national teams would form around their core base of players. They were that good. Then they got new ownership, started to go downhill. But still, the passion was always there. And in those clásicos, as we call them, you never knew what was going to really happen. I mean, one time America was at the top. Chivas was struggling, and Chivas beat them in Mexico City, where Club America is based. So to me, watching this rivalry and experiencing it firsthand, hell is real, is really something that I get into, that I get excited, and that I get incredibly stressed out.
That's the thing with rivalry games for me, is like, especially this one, because you want to win so bad, but if you don't, and if it's a bad performance, it wrecks my whole week. And I've actually got tickets. I'm going up there to lower.com field on Saturday. And there's part of me, like the past 2 years, I've had tickets and had to sell them. Some things happen. There's part of me that's like, I don't know if I want to go, because I'm excited. I want to support my team. But at the same time, it's like, am I going to enjoy myself? This match versus like when I went out to FC Cincinnati's inaugural MLS game at Seattle, we got our butts kicked, but I had a great time.
Yeah,
I was at that game in St. Louis that we got our butts kicked. So maybe I shouldn't go to Columbus, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, connecting dots here, Jason.
Yeah, but I had a great time at that match too, because there wasn't so much stuff attached to it. I mean, this is there is history there, I think, between a lot of fans. I'll freely admit I used to be a Crew fan back in, before FCC came along, back before I moved out to Salt Lake, back before Save the Crew made me hate the Crew. It's amazing what that'll do to you. But at the same time, like, this is a rivalry in which, Jose, you mentioned that first match, the fans of the Crew were going after Greg Berhalter
Mm-hmm.
on the sidelines after the match, and I can't imagine like FC Cincinnati fans being that mad at Pat Noonan over anything. So,
No. Mm-mm.
But
um,
but they'll sure as hell be mad at Caleb Porter forever. Like that's what this rivalry breeds is like you will
oh my
always
gosh,
Oh,
Caleb
yeah.
Porter, it should just be a memory. Like no one should care about him as the Revs manager now. Like but no one will ever forget him shushing after a 2-2 draw, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Shushing a crowd of a draw. Like
Yeah.
but that just those
Real
memories are
classy.
yeah,
those memories are going to stay forever in this fan base, and that's what makes it so great is they already have those moments, mostly Crew side moments, but you have those moments now where you remember like these are the marquee moments, stepping stones of this rivalry. This is another chapter. This is a chapter. Like these are the chapter moments of like how important it is and how much it means to these two fan bases. And so it's like we are incredible. It's so cool in a way to have to be so young in this league, this team be so young, but already have cemented themselves into arguably the best rivalry this league has ever
oh,
seen.
I think
Like
it is.
I
Yeah,
think
I think it is. I mean,
I
'cause,
think
yeah, they
it's
talk about it, el tráfico, and it's like, yeah, yeah, all right, yeah. I mean, it does. Because I have a friend that lives in LA, and he's an LAFC fan, LA Galaxy fan. And I said, so how's that rivalry? Well, but it's not Chivas America. So yeah, I mean, we're Californians. It's like, okay, whatever, take it easy, no big deal. The other one is like, yes, he says there is a rivalry, of course. He says, but
mm-hmm.
he says it's not.
it's
He doesn't think it's that intense because he also lived in Mexico, so he
Yeah.
saw those Chivas America rivalries.
I would still put Cascadia above Hell is Real a little bit, just because the history there. Portland and Seattle, they've had, at least in soccer, that's going back to the NASL.
oh
So it's like
Yeah.
a 50-year-old rivalry
Okay.
between them. But I, yeah, I would put it maybe second to the Cascadia rivalry. And, if I know my geography, I think we are the two closest located teams if you're not talking about the teams that are in the same city.
In the same
Like,
city. Mm-hmm.
I don't know how far it is from New York to New England, but I'm pretty sure it's about 100 miles. So,
it's roughly 4 hours.
oh, really? Yeah.
Mhm.
See, I don't know. My
Yeah,
geography.
maybe more because
Yeah.
I think me centrally, I'm roughly 2 hours
yeah.
north of New York City, and I'm roughly 2 hours south of Boston. So like, you do the math,
Yeah.
it's probably five. This 71 is closer. Like
Yeah.
it's definitely closer.
And who knows? In a couple years, when Indianapolis gets their MLS team, we'll have another rival just 90 minutes from my house, at least. So as we move into Hell is Real, let's get our predictions. Jose, your score prediction.
I think it's going to be a loss again, maybe 2-1. I think we'll get a ding in there, but I think all those other factors that I mentioned probably going to go Columbus' way.
Clifford Adams has a 2-1 FC Cincinnati. Josh, what do you think?
2-2 vibes game. It's things are gonna get fun. Like I said, the idea that both of these managers clearly had it in their heads, like, oh, it's a midweek game, we're gonna rotate, which midweek game rotation is great. Again, if these two teams weren't playing each other on Saturday, I don't think you might have seen as much rotation on Wednesday from either side. These two teams care about this game a lot.
Yeah.
Even though it's May. Like, this game matters to them. So it's going to be physical. It's going to be intense. Let's pray Pro doesn't get involved and try to make it about themselves in this one, because that's the last team we need. We don't need the third team involved here. These two teams are going to be going at each other enough. Let them play. 2-2 is what I'm going with. It's going to be fun and stressful and anxiety inducing, and then we'll just look forward to the next one.
Patrick Daniel McHugh, 2-2 is his guess. I'm going to say 1-1 draw. I think it's going to be ugly. I think I'm not going to have any fun whatsoever. It is going to be a 1-1 slog between FC Cincinnati and the Crew. So hopefully we'll see FC Cincinnati come away with a win, and hopefully I'm wrong, but whatever. Before we get into final thoughts, I want to give a big shout out to all of our supporters. FC or Cincinnati Soccer Talk is, we're free. We like to keep it that way, and we can't do that without your support. If you'd like to support us, head on over to cincinnati-soccertalk.com/support. From there, you'll be able to sign up for our Patreon page or make a one-time donation. Patreon subscription enters you into our Growler Cup competition, as well as some other bonus content. We've had some Patreon-only streams and stuff. And Josh, are you okay?
Yeah, no, I reminded myself just this moment that once again, I forgot to jump into Growler Cup. We had it was a perfect clean slate. I was like, oh, it's a new season. It's the round 2 is great. I'm going to jump back in this time and immediately out.
God. Don't do like Josh. Don't down a calendar invite or a reminder to do your Growler Cup. That's why I didn't do it this year, because I did it really well last year for like the half of the season, and then I just quit. I treated it like my fantasy football team. I cared about it for like half the year. But you, as a supporter, you should care about it. Also, we do have some awesome bonus content that pops up from time to time. So stay tuned for that. Fellas, final thoughts. Jose.
Well, again, 3 points is 3 points. Might have been an ugly win, but we got the 3 points, and that was important. We put away a bad team, but as I've said now for several weeks, we really need to put them away for good. We let them hang around, and yes, it was a rotated squad, and we had some tired legs out there, but we've got to learn how to be ruthless and just pour it on when we need to pour it on. But I'll take the 3 points anytime, however ugly it is. Hell is real. It's going to be a tough game. I mean, regardless of the predictions, it is going to be a slugfest. I mean, both teams know what's at stake, not just the standings, but the bragging rights. The bragging rights to me are probably more important at some point than whatever points you have or whatever the score looks like. The wild cards again are going to be, are we going to have a fully healthy team with Obi and Matt and Orellano? If we do, then, maybe we can pull off a tie or a win. But if we don't, if any of those are not 90 per minutes, it's going to be a challenge. But still, I will watch. I will be stressed out. It'll be an intense game. But you know what, guys? After that, regardless of the score, a lot of season left.
Yep. Josh.
I'll piggyback off of what just happened with our call to support. I'm a big video game guy, and video game media is going through kind of this hellacious turn where media companies and websites are going down. But through those ashes, you are seeing independent game journalists and companies popping up and trying to do it on their own. And so to that, I say, just keep supporting independent media like us, like the Postcast, like all of the other great Cincinnati soccer journalism that we have. Laurel Failer obviously is the biggest one there, because you just never know what you have really until all of those things kind of crumble around you. And so it's just so critical. The things that you love, soccer is such a niche thing still in this country, and we said it 1,000 times. We are so lucky to have such a wide coverage base between us and all the podcasts and Laurel and Pat Brennan for a time when we had him. Those aren't everywhere, so keep supporting local soccer coverage. That's how we grow this game. Coverage is how we grow this game, because people start paying attention. Use Apollo Home. Use all of, if you need eye surgery, use the other site to get some eye surgery done. Those things actually matter. Those companies pay attention to those things, and they're only going to help us and only going to help the other coverage that you want to see, and what this sport needs is more coverage, more fan bases like ours, and more people caring. So keep supporting local, do what you can financially, word of mouth, all of the things that you need, because independent media now is more important than ever in all aspects of this country. So keep supporting independent, and keep banging the drum to make this thing great.
Well said. Absolutely well said.
Very well said.
My final thought is we as fans here in Ohio, I already mentioned it, we're very lucky in that our nearest rival here in Cincinnati is only 100 miles up the road. We could be in a situation where in a lot of our sports, your biggest rival are hours and hours away from each other. Look at the Cubs and the Cardinals. That's a 6-hour drive. Look at Minnesota Vikings and Green Bay Packers. That's a very long way away from each other. As much as I don't like the Crew, I think it's really cool that here in this little Midwestern state that gets that the Gen Zers have even used as a slang term for something bad. Here in Ohio, I love Ohio. I've got it tattooed on my arm. Anyway, the fact that we have probably one of the best soccer rivalries in North America, just right outside our back door, is really awesome. So be sure that if you are going up to Columbus, be safe, be a good guest, don't be a jerk, enjoy yourself, root on FC Cincinnati. If you are here in Cincinnati or here in the area, go to one of the mini watch parties. I know, the hashtag podcast wars are a thing maybe, but the Post is doing a watch party over at Street Side Brewing. I know there are other watch parties that supporters groups are doing. Just find a way to support this weekend. Have a great time. And if you are going up there, please do be safe, be smart, be careful, and look out for each other. And until Monday night, when it is episode 420, and it'll be a blazing good time. I'm Jason Ashcraft for Jose and Josh Dye. Have a great weekend. Go FCC, up the Garys, and we'll see you next week.